Humans have undeniably changed the history of life as being the first species to adapt and overcome countless natural barriers. In Elizabeth Kolbert's The Sixth Extinction, the author tracks how humans discovered previous extinctions and their catastrophic effects on biodiversity before leading up to explaining the next approaching sixth extinction. Although this next extinction has not fully occurred yet, it shows how humans have influenced it. Furthermore, humans are guilty of being the driving factor of the sixth extinction due to bringing invasive species, exploiting animals, and acidifying the oceans. Throughout history, humans have traveled to almost every part of Earth, and with them comes the transfer of disease and invasive species. In the novel, the author explains the mysterious drop in bat populations across North America, the perpetrator being an invasive fungus brought by tourists from Asia. Quote, for its effect on bats it was dubbed Geomyces destructans, end quote, meaning the destroyer of bats. Because invasive species have evolved in a different environment and set of conditions than the environment they invade, they at times are at a disadvantage and die out, or are at an advantage and beat out other species. An example of this is rats, which are originally from Asia, would not have become a crop pest and spread the Black Plague through the Silk Road if not for Marco Polo and other travelers. Additionally, Christopher Columbus brought chickenpox and measles to Native Americans and then brought back syphilis to Europeans. Humans themselves are an invasive species that destroy the environment, animals, and each other. They have outcompete every other species to ever exist, including Neanderthals, to extinction. Humanity is guilty of, although accidentally at times, bringing invasive species that endanger an extinct species. Humans are evolutionarily advantaged in that they can eat almost anything, and are not limited to meat or plants. However, this comes to the detriment of many creatures and plants because all are the prey of humans. In the novel, the author analyzes the causes of the extinction of auks. Quote, once the Funk Island birds had been salted, plucked, and deep-fried into oblivion, there was only one sizable colony of great auks left in the world, on an island called the Geirfuglasker, end quote. Coincidentally, on that island there was a volcanic explosion, and because then the birds were rare, egg collectors hunted down the rest. Humans exploited every part of the auks, the meat, eggs, feathers, and oil because they were easy to kill as they were flightless. In fact, because there were no trees on Funk Island, they used the same birds as fuel to cook the others because their fat was oily enough. Furthermore, because of the rarity humans developed from killing them, their eggs became sought after and their fate was hastened. The great auks, although became vulnerable to extinction in part to a volcanic explosion, humans are guilty of having finished them off. Through consumption, pollution, and corporate greed, the oceans, which are known for hosting the earliest forms of life, are acidifying and becoming uninhabitable. In the novel, the author points out the urgency of this issue. Quote, a paper published in Nature by the former head of the One Tree Research Station, Elizabeth Kolbert, predicted that if current trends continue, then by around 2050 visitors to the Great Barrier Reef will arrive to find a rapidly eroding rubble banks, end quote. Coral reefs are uniquely beneficial in their ability to pose a danger to ships, and at the same time provide a home and increase the biodiversity of oceans life exponentially. The current trends referred to in the quote are human activity, and the destruction of coral reefs due to acidification means that not only all the coral die, but additional millions of species of marine life. The phenomenon of coral bleaching is due to pollution, consumerism, and corporations producing too much CO2 for the oceans to absorb, all strictly human activity. Unless humans change their nature and societal norms of putting profit before the environment, all marine life will cease, and leave a toxic acidified ocean behind. Many people still believe climate change does not exist, let alone that humans could cause it. Others too argue that, quote, human ingenuity will outrun any disaster human ingenuity sets in motion, end quote. This is optimistic thinking. Humans have already caused the extinction of many species, since the beginning of their existence. That is why there is no surviving megafauna, because like the auks they were killed off for food. Humans have overhunted, pillaged, and broken the binds of natural selection. Even if human ingenuity outruns past human ingenuity, it will never bring back the dead or undo the destruction of the past and present. The extinction of millions of species, some never to be known, has been occurring since the introduction of humanity. Due to the exploration and subsequent colonization of new areas, humans brought many life-altering species, dominated and exploited animals, and acidified the oceans. While humans try to undo the harm they have caused, it is impossible to bring back the long-extinct species. This path of destruction and ignorance will undeniably lead to humanity's own demise unless immediately overwhelmingly large steps are taken in the opposite direction to save not only their home Earth,